The Walt Disney Company spent at least $180 million on the Acolyte. Despite that, it has already dropped off the Nielsen charts. Is it going to go down even further? Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is an expert on all things Star Wars, Mr. VashSky. Vash, is the Force with you, or is it the thread?
Yeah, that's the big. I don't know about all that.
I just threw you off with that.
I hope it's the Force, but
maybe I disgusted you a little bit with that. Man, they're just rewriting everything in the Acolyte. You know, this is the thing. It's offensive, but it's kind of an apathetic kind of offensive. You know, it's not an offensive that makes you like throw your fist up in the air and say, "Why did you change Ki-Adi Mundi? Why did you bring Yoda into this? Oh, I see that you obviously put Palpatine in there, and you made Plagueis into some strange lizard that just hangs out in the back for a little while." So weird. But anyways, let's talk about this show, The Acolyte. The Hollywood Reporter, THR Charts, has an exclusive guide to what people are watching right now, driven by data and updated live. Maybe it'll update during this show right here. That's just talking about audio. Let's talk about streaming. The top series of the week here, Bridgerton, which that's in its its third season or something, 2.46 billion minutes. Your Honor, which is a Showtime show that moved over to Netflix, 1.94 billion. The Boys, only on Prime, 1.29 billion. House of the Dragon, 1.22 billion. Bluey at 1.11 billion units here. Bluey, made by a little studio out there in Australia. This is the first Disney Plus show on this list. As we often like to bring up here, Vash, what's different about Bluey compared to everything else on Disney Plus?
oh, it's actually not produced by Disney and not owned outright by Disney. Yeah, that's the tough part about that. Your number one program on your flagship streaming service that you tout so much about all the time. Well, the number one program on there, not yours.
Yep, it's a licensing deal that Disney lucked into several years ago. When we say they lucked into it, in the same way that Tom Brady was like a fifth-round draft pick. I just incited a bunch of people in the comments because they don't even like that name being spoken. That's fine.
Sixth round.
Oh, see, even worse. The Patriots lucked into getting the guy who, statistically speaking, wins more Super Bowls than anybody else. Again, I keep going down this path. Keep making people more angry. They lucked into that guy, whereas Disney lucked into Bluey to get them to this number one spot. Can you even imagine what Disney would be? Because 30% of all of the viewership on Disney Plus is Bluey. So if you remove Bluey, you're removing 1.1 billion watch minutes from the platform. You could argue that people would still be watching Disney Plus. Maybe that's what they're selecting as the quote unquote babysitter content here. But there's a lot of people that actually look forward to watching Bluey. That being said, I'm not seeing much Acolyte on this list. Oh, here it is. What is this? This is the top trending. This is the most consumed, searched, and shared content. I think I understand the reason why this one was the most shared content right here. Of course, you can watch Acolyte reviews on this channel or over on the WDW Pro channel. Vash, I think you've got additional data that you can throw into this to add some clarity.
I've got a little bit more data to add a little bit more clarity to this. We're going to go ahead straight to the Nielsen top 10 streaming overall top 10 for the week of June 17th through the 23rd. Right here, this is shared by Luis Fernando, and you can see right here, hey, there is an omission on this list. I can see Bridgerton, Your Honor, The Boys, House of the Dragon, Bluey, there it is, top 5. I'm not seeing Acolyte on this list. We might have a little bit more clarity and commentary on this. Acolyte still struggling in that first paragraph. We'll go down here. The Acolyte remains a big headache for Disney Plus, doing worse than Andor after disappearing from the original chart, meaning it failed to reach not even 290 minutes on third week in the charts despite episode 4's debut. That comes after the series had already faced a huge drop on the previous week when it had only 370 minutes watched, dropping from 488 minutes watched on the first week. That is a very, very paltry showing for a show that is it was a low budget show. I think it was like $30 million. So not so bad. I mean, that one can be contained. It was $180 million. Sorry, 30 million. 20 million per episode is how that averages out. And I believe it's $750,000 per minute of film for that series. And by the way, those are numbers we know about right now. Those are probably higher than initially perceived.
Yeah. By the way, just so you know, it's actually 22.5 million per episode right there, which even if you divide that in half, if you do 1.5 hour episode of television at that length, it is still considered high budget to have even that carryover that you rounded off there, according to the new IATSE contract, which, by the way, we covered that over on That Pod Place, otherwise known as T3PO, with a long-form deep dive into the IATSE contract and how that's going to change the way that the industry works over there with Lou Wasserman's Ghost. But to return back to the Acolyte, right now, I'm going to say something that I don't think is very controversial. I think that only YouTubers watch this show, and I think more people watch YouTube content about the Acolyte. I think more people read tweets about the Acolyte than actually watched the Acolyte. Now, obviously, it was on the charts for the first few weeks because there was a rumor going around there that it would have its own Last Jedi moment. But if the Last Jedi supposedly cut the audience in half for Star Wars, and there's a believable case to be made for that, because Force Awakens made $2 billion, The Last Jedi made $1.5 billion, and then, of course, half of Force Awakens being how much The Rise of Skywalker made, right there with $1 billion on a budget of 600 million, by the way, not counting advertising, which they definitely spent a lot of money advertising the final Star Wars movie there. It just seems like just like a radioactive half-life. An isotope has a half-life where it just keeps dividing in strength by half, by half, by half. I wonder if there's any audience left for the Skeleton Crew show, which, as far as we know, that is the next one that's coming out of Lucasfilm. And then after that, I'm hearing rumors that Andor season 2 has finished filming, and then we're also getting Ahsoka season 2 at some point. Right now, we're all pointed towards those movies and wondering, is the Acolyte bad enough that it actually impacts the quality of Star Wars in people's minds, or is Acolyte, are they now thankful that no one is watching the Acolyte, so that it will in fact just pass by, the same way that Andor, which I hear from everyone that is actually really well written. Someone in the comments will correct me on that because I've never seen Andor, but everyone says, I hear Andor is very good, but again, nobody watched it. And for the Acolyte to get lower viewership numbers than Andor, which was already low, is really saying something. Vash, I'm going to ask you a question that's been asked a lot lately. Is Star Wars dead?
Oh, it really does feel like it, Jonas. I mean, this was a top tier franchise. This was the franchises of all franchises, the brands of all brands, once valued at $4.4 billion when acquired by Disney. Well, I mean, they acquired all Lucasfilm, but this was a franchise that had endured for 40 years up until this point right here. One of the biggest merchandise sellers of all time. The merchandise for which launched a zillion new entertainment factories or
right. Merchandising was a thing that was not considered on that level, because George Lucas got the merchandising for Star Wars because Fox didn't think that it would do that well. And now it's created the modern concept of merchandising, the way that Disney did use them as a template. And then somehow Disney gets a hold of Star Wars and they lose their minds and turn Star Wars merchandising into something that no one cares about anymore.
But think about it, though. Pixar was funded largely because of that money from that merchandise. George Lucas was able to fund the preceding pictures in the Star Wars franchise because of that merchandise revenue. I mean, think about the enterprises that launched. Industrial Light and Magic, Skywalker Sound. This was a juggernaut in the entertainment industry, and now it can't even chart on the top 10, or at least stay on there long enough to get to the series. And the lack of enthusiasm is astounding. It's just the way they have shepherded this brand is, honestly, it could be corporate malfeasance. I mean, really, seriously, this is just appalling.
Right. They've taken the most successful film franchise in the English-speaking world and turned it into, well, the Acolyte. Hey guys, they bled the crystal at some point. Aren't you excited? That final fight just makes absolutely no sense to me. You might even notice that we didn't actually even do a review of the final episode on this channel. If you showed up for the live stream, we went through it just because we felt like we kind of had to, but neither of us had the energy to actually go through. And maybe we will if everyone demands it. That being said, let us know your thoughts on this entire situation in the comment section down below. Do you think the Acolyte will actually rise in the ratings over the next few weeks here? Because there is a lag metric here. The Nielsens are off by 4 to 6 weeks. So in 3 to 5 weeks, we should know what the finale of the Acolyte got. Maybe it'll get more because everyone had to binge watch it and catch up. Who knows? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Of course, don't forget to hit the like button. We really appreciate it if you do that. And of course, consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.